Welcome to this edition of the Journal podcast, a place for thought-provoking discussion from the world of insurance and beyond. I'm Christopher Shadforth, Communications and Engagement Director with the Chartered Insurance Institute Group. And today I'm joined by Helen Sanson, Chief Executive of the Insurance Charity. Hi, Helen. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Chris. How are you?
Very, very well. Thank you very much. And today we're talking about your fantastic work with the charity. And for those of our listeners who are not familiar, can you start by telling us a little bit about what the Insurance Charity is here to do and why its work matters so much today?
Sure. So the Insurance Charity, which has been in operation in one form or another since 1902, is there to support current and former insurance professionals, no matter what role they've had in insurance, when times get hard or they experience misfortune, and we provide financial support and practical advice and guidance to help people get over those difficult periods that inevitably happen to a lot of us in our lifetime. And I think that's one of the great things about the Insurance Charity. We can support people literally from cradle to grave, because it's not just the individual insurance professional. We can support your family and your dependents, and we can support you well into your retirement if necessary.
Fantastic. And we'll get a little bit more into the detail of that in the next few minutes. But you've also recently launched a new strategy, haven't you? This comes on the back of changing the name of the charity in the last short while. What's changed, and what are the big priorities that are shaping your work over the next few years, Helen?
Well, one of the things we realised is that we can do more. We have we're very fortunate in that we have very good resources, and we wanted to be able to offer more things to the insurance profession when they needed it most. And I'm not just talking about money here. I'm talking about other forms of support. So, for example, how could we help people who perhaps are undergoing, say, cancer therapies? How can we help people who are experiencing mental health or gambling addictions? And sometimes money won't solve those problems, but can we work in a different way? Can we come up with new programs, new partnerships with specialist agencies that can help us tackle different issues that people are experiencing in their day-to-day life? So that's one of our new priorities. Another one is to improve our operations internally, so modernize a lot of our systems, speed up the processes so that when someone applies for a grant or for help, we can get that help to them much quicker. So there'll be some technical developments going on. We need to invest in some technology to enable us to do things quicker and faster for the people. We also need to increase awareness because, I've been with the charity about 16 months now. I'm meeting a lot of people out and about, and people still say, "Oh, I've never heard of you, and I've been in insurance for 30 years." So there's a big problem there with understanding and awareness. So that's one of our other strategic pillars. And we just want to make sure that everything we do is done with purpose and that we're not missing out any people in insurance that might need us.
Very, very good. And thinking about that purpose and how it translates into tangible support for people working in the profession then, can you give us an example? You talked about some of the additional areas that you are looking to potentially provide support with, but perhaps talk us through more generally how the Insurance Charity can support an individual or their family in times of difficulty.
So the largest amount of money we award each year are to individuals or families. And that's for day-to-day hardship, supporting people with things such as food, travel costs, rent, mortgage, household bills. And it may be that person perhaps is out of work at the time, or one of the working adults in the house has lost their job. So everything changes when that happens, if you suddenly lose an income. So it's that day-to-day hardship is our sort of number one support area. We also help people if they're having health issues or mental health issues. We pay for therapies, we pay for physiotherapy, we pay for equipment. So, for example, things like wheelchairs. Another example of equipment we've paid for this year is for an epilepsy monitor for a family. So that's the kind of sort of tangible things that we do to support people. But the beauty of the Insurance Charity is that We don't have a policy that says we can only help you with this much money once for this thing. We treat everybody on a sort of client person-centered approach, so that everyone who comes, whatever their need, as long as they meet our eligibility criteria, working in insurance, financially, that they pass the assessment, we can't obviously support millionaires, we can help them with whatever it is that they need.
I mean, it is incredibly broad, isn't it? And I suppose that's the point. This is not about saying, well, it's only relevant to this particular person in this particular set of circumstances. You want, as this charity, to be able to provide as rich a set of support as an individual or their family might need. Because let's face it, the challenges that we might find ourselves in those circumstances is incredibly diverse.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, that is, I think, the most amazing thing about this charity. There's no one size fits all. It's not like we have a few products off the shelf, here you go. We really can do anything within reason for an individual that comes to us.
And it sounds like over time you have deliberately expanded the options and the types of support that you're offering, because challenges have evolved within the sector. People, you mentioned, potentially gambling addictions within that. I guess they are more prevalent today than they have been in the past. And what other sorts of challenges are you seeing individuals and families coming to you with at the moment? What would be the most prevalent? And you also mentioned that machine. I mean, that sounds like it could be a one-off type form of support. But can you give us some more ideas of the sorts of things that you are encountering at this point in time?
I mean, all sorts of things, Chris. I mean, sadly, we're seeing more incidences of redundancy, relationship breakdown, long-term illness and conditions where people are no longer able to work. We're seeing an increase in cases of domestic abuse, mental health issues, gambling, you've already mentioned. And we're seeing an increase in younger people coming to the charity. I think years and years ago, it was predominantly widows of people who had served in the insurance industry for a long, long time. But we're seeing the age range of our applicants come down as well. To say that there's a typical one thing, I hope I've given you a sort of a broad sort of range there of the sorts of things. We have some extreme cases where it's people who've suffered extreme neurological deficits through a road accident, and now we're adapting a house for that person. And that's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of pounds. But that's coming back to the point where we can do whatever it is that the person needs. That's one sort of example of that. And it might be that we're just paying someone's rent for a few months until they find a new job. So it's really, really varied.
It is, isn't it? I mean, but isn't that incredible? I mean, it is life-changing for those individuals, and potentially when there aren't other forms of support out there, the insurance charity can really be the organisation that steps in and makes that difference. It's absolutely tremendous. And one of the other things that you're doing with the strategy, Helen, as I understand it, is you're also attempting to broaden out the sphere of influence that you've got. So you've got a schools essentials program now. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're rolling out in that area and what the difference you're hoping it will make to families?
Well, we wanted to have a program where we could get money out to people much quicker. So this is sort of what we call a light touch grants program. What it's aimed at is parents who have some connection, obviously have worked or are working in the insurance industry. They must have a child and they must be claiming some form of means tested benefit. So that might be some universal credit. And they can apply. And once we've established that all those things are in place, and we hope we can do that quickly, they will be able to have £250 per child that they have, or €300 for our Irish families. And they can spend it on anything to do with school. And that might be uniform, new shoes, new bag, or it could be towards the French exchange trip or something like that, that their child might ordinarily not be able to go to because of money being a problem. And what we're hoping is that this will also be perhaps a gateway program, in that we hope that maybe people will hear about us through this. And we can perhaps establish relationships with some of these families who we may be able to help in other ways, and that they just didn't realise that we are here for them.
That's absolutely incredible. I mean, that really does feel like it's considering both the immediate need, but also that potential to inform for future access as well. What a great idea. Now, you're building on that as well with some new partnerships and collaboration with other charities and expert services. So what's driving that, and how is that collaboration going to join up the support that you can offer as well? What are you hoping to achieve in that area?
Well, we want to help people in sort of a wraparound, universal offering, really, but we recognise that we're not the experts. So if you've got housing issues, for example, our welfare team, as much as they have good general knowledge, then, they're not the legal experts. They don't really know how to sort of resolve some of those issues. So we already have a great partnership with Shelter. And if we do have any people that come to us with housing issues, we can refer them directly to Shelter for a caseworker there to take up all of the issues that they're having with their landlord potentially, or whatever it is that they're having difficulties with in their housing situation. We've also developed a partnership this year with an organisation called Penny Smart. And these are a financial management organisation, and they give people really good advice about budgeting, repayment of debts, looking after your money, planning for the future. And we can refer people to that. So that's another partnership where we can add that additional sort of help. And we are keen to develop partnerships further. So, for example, we'll be looking at charities perhaps that specifically support domestic abuse. We're going to look at charities or experts that support gambling. And we're going to be looking for mental health support as well. So there's a few areas where we know where we're seeing a lot more issues coming up for people, where we would like to be able to say, okay, you don't need money from us, perhaps. You don't really need an item that we could purchase for you, but you need that expertise in your life to help you get through your difficulty. So we are keen to develop partnerships in all sorts of areas. And what we will do is we'll look at the needs that are coming through, and where there are consistencies and commonalities, that's where we'll be looking to develop these sort of partnerships with these third-party services that can support our insurance professionals.
Really, really good. So if that's meeting the supply need, let's talk a little bit about the demand that might be out there. We're talking shortly ahead of the Insurance Charity Awareness Week, which runs from the 23rd to the 27th of June. I think we'll be putting this podcast out during the week itself. And it really is about making sure that everybody is aware that this support is available. So what would you say to somebody listening who might not realise they're available for help, and how should they get in touch with you, Helen?
Right. So if they didn't realise that we are available for help, please do have a look on our website, or you can always call up and speak to somebody in our welfare and grants team who can talk you through whether you're eligible or not for support. And that's the best way to sort of find out more about us.
And it's the insurancecharity.org.uk, isn't it?
That's right. Thank you. And our phone number's on there, and we're very happy to talk you through the criteria and the sorts of support that we can offer to you. Some companies may know about us already, and that would usually be the HR teams that would already know about us, and they might be able to provide some information. If you wanted to speak to your HR manager to find out about us, that would be another way. And we're on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, you could look and find out about what we're doing there as well.
Brilliant. What are some of the other activities you're doing during the Awareness Week then, Helen?
Well, we're launching the new schools grant. We've got lots of presentations next week, some with CII local institutes. I'm doing a couple of those.
Brilliant.
Definitely doing one with Luton next week myself. So they're going on, I think, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. Victoria, our communications manager, will be doing most of those. And we'll just be generally posting. We've got some new case studies coming out next week. So you can see on LinkedIn some detailed case studies of people that we've helped, which are always really nice to read about. So yeah, really, it's just about banging the drum next week and making as much noise as possible about what we do at the insurance charity, so that more people know about us.
Fabulous. And we're talking just a couple of years ahead of the centenary, aren't we? I mean, 2728 marks, not the centenary, 125 years, in fact, of the insurance charity. I've got 100 years in my head for some reason, but it's 125 years. I mean, that's an incredible milestone, isn't it? And how are you thinking about celebrating that particular moment in the charity's history?
We've got a few ideas already, and we don't want to just have a one-day thing like, oh, it's our birthday. We plan on doing a few events over the course of our birthday year. One thing that we're looking at is doing what would we call it? An exhibition, and it might be a virtual exhibition or it might be a live exhibition, because dating back to 1902, we've got the original ledger book where I guess it would be the insurance clerks would take subscriptions from people that initially funded the charity. And then it also has all the listings of who received monies from the charities. So we've got all of these really fascinating documents going back to 1902. So we'd like to get them on display. So that's one thing we're definitely going to do. We want to perhaps launch a new partnership with a national charity. And I don't want to say too much about that because that's still in development, where we're hoping that the regional CII groups will help us with that. And that could be a very interesting collaboration. But it will be about celebration and awareness raising, really, I think.
Well, the two things go hand in hand so well, don't they? I mean, to have been in existence and helping families in the insurance profession for 125 years is just phenomenal. Think about all the individuals who have been assisted through their lives as a result of your fantastic work. It must give you great pride to be the current custodian of the organisation.
Yeah, no, it really does. I can't emphasize enough how every day you can feel really good about what you're doing because you know you're really helping people, and that you, as you said, there's this whole history that I'm now contributing to. So it is a great privilege to work here.
Wonderful. Well, look, we encourage people to get in contact with you. If you are struggling at the moment, if a loved one has got an illness or you feel as if you need some additional support and you think the insurance charity could be the organisation for you, please do get in contact with them. We've provided the email address there. We'll also put the phone number in the show notes and the comments when we put this out on our social media channels. Helen, thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
It's been a joy talking to you too, Chris, and thank you so much for the opportunity to raise awareness of the insurance charity.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much, Helen. And thank you all for listening to this episode of the Journal Podcast. You can find useful links in the show notes and related articles on the Journal website, along with further podcasts. Please like, review, and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.